Hey guys, I'm going to be showing, for you guys that haven't really seen any detail about the hot wrap, I'm going to do my take on it and wrap one of these fc-2000 wicks. I got the new 1/8 wick that has the channels down the side, and just going to show you how I hot wrap them, and we'll do a probably a 2-3 wrap, something real low resistance on this, and see how that works too. So we'll show you how to burn some fingers. Thanks. So you can see these, well, maybe, I don't know if you can, but these are grooved. These are 1/8 fc-2000, and every release on these wicks, man, have been getting better and better. It's probably been about 4 different, makeups of them. The original ones were, kind of smoother and heavier, and then I think they've opened them up a few times and they've gotten lighter and a little rougher, and they're definitely better. I mean, these things are really awesome. So to hot wrap these babies, I actually take a cartomizer with actually like a stainless steel, well, aluminum anodized drip tip. Any metal drip tip will work, and kind of put a hole down in the cotton to where it works on your Genesis style atomizer. That distance, for my AC9 is pretty good. It's sticking out there about a ½ inch, and it just works out at the right distance when I make a wrap. So these are somebody's, you always got these things around, and it helps a little bit than just kind of holding them in your hand, and you don't get flamed as much. The hot wrap method is really, really good, but you gotta be careful. So you want to keep this wick from spinning around, which right now it will spin around. So I take a little tiny toothpick and I kind of wedge it in there, and you'll see why this works really good. I just got to break off a little bit more of that toothpick. See that? Just kind of wedge it in there. And I've actually, that little toothpick sticking out like that is actually where my first wrap is going to start, so it's not really in the way there. So, alright, I'm going to get my torch and show you exactly how I do these hot wraps. Alright, so I got my torch, and actually this torch is pointing away from me, okay, and the wick is in front of it. Obviously I got some 28 gauge Canthal, and I actually stuck it inside the drip tip, okay, and then I'm gonna kind of make a loop here. Do that, a little loop, and that's just a little extra wire to make your negative connection. So the end of the wire is shoved in the drip tip, and then we got this loop. And let's get going. Let me crank this torch up. What I do is, with my left hand, I spin the wick while holding the wire below in my right hand. So spin with the left and hold a little pressure with my other hand, and instead of making wraps with my fingers, I'm going to spin the device. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and heat up the wick. Once you get that first wrap's probably going to come undone. It's just on there to get tight, and we'll probably unloop it as an unnecessary wrap, because that first one sometimes doesn't come out as tight, and it's just there to kind of get things snug. And now you got some pressure that you can do on the wick now. Alright, so we got to get the wire and the wick heated up. I'm spinning. The device and holding the wire with my other hand. You want to get that baby glowing. This 28 gauge will handle this. That's basically it. I'm just doing a 2-3 wrap here, and that first wrap is really a dummy wrap, so I pretty much got it right there. We'll let that cool just for a minute. pretty cool now. And what I'm doing is I'm just kind of taking that bottom wrap that we didn't need, kind of a snug wrap, kind of unwrapping that. And then you want to orient the wires. Alright, so I just gotta pull that wire there. And that's my 2-3 wrap right there. AC9. Drop that baby in. And as you can see, the coil's in the right spot. You know, that's just something that, you know, depending on what atomizer you're using, and then this, you know, cartomizer distance. You know, you'll have to kind of, you know, measure that, you know, before you, because I just took that cartomizer and, you know, took a little screwdriver and pushed in the cotton in there until the wick seated down the right distance. So you'll have to play with that a little bit, but as you've seen, you know, once you get that cartomizer and you're holding the wire below it with your right hand and you're spinning this, not once did I even get close to having any heat. So it's not the easiest of things. It definitely takes a few times to get used to it, but it sure makes for a nice tight wrapped coil, you know, and that's real important with the ceramic for sure. So we'll go ahead and connect our leads and see how this works. You know, this is the new 1/8 wick with the channels down the side, and obviously where these channels are, there's kind of a gap behind the coil, and you know, this is something why the hot wrap works so well, thanks to Elias, who came up with this hot wrap method. You know, the tighter the better, and now we got these channels on the side of the wick with the gaps behind them, so I'm curious to see how it's going to vape. It may need a little break-in time. So let's go ahead and connect our negative. Go ahead and connect the positive. I put my spring post back on the AC9. You don't want to cut these leads off too short. You know, I found with these ceramics that you get everything nice and tight, and vape it a few times, and initially you can get, you know, the very bottom coil loosens up a little bit. You kind of see a gap between the wire and the wick, and sometimes on the top. So you need a little bit of wire, so you can grab it with a pair of these guys and tighten it back up. You know, sometimes I have to do that for you know, the first half a tank or something, but then the wires seem to settle, and you know, they've done expanded, and I don't have to do it. But if you ain't got no wire to grab onto, it's not good. Okay, we'll get a little tighter connection on the top spring. There we go. Just cut that off to about there. Cut that off to about there. That should give me some room to tighten everything up. Alright, I'm going to go get some juice, and we'll fire this baby up. I ain't going to be working too good on this. The Pro-Vari ain't going to work with this 2-3 wrap. I'm going to have to get my mechanical mod. So hang in there, and we'll be, let me go get some juice and see how she vapes. Alright, next thing I'm going to do is just see what kind of resistance we got going. It's reading 1 ohm minus 2 for the leads, the internal resistance there. So she's about 0.8. So actually I would think she's probably a little less. Probably around 0.7. You know, because that's, you know, pretty close. It may be able to be read in the Pro-Vari, so it's right on the borderline of probably 7 or 8. So, alright, let's put a little juice in there.
You can give that half an hour.
Mm-hmm.
Where's my CD? You can't see anything apart from you, right?
And a little bit of hot spot. That top coil is just a little on the loose side. There we go. Oops. A little tighter. There we go. That's a low on coil. Boy, that sucker's heating up quick. But looks like they're all firing up right now, so. Need to trim off a little bit more of that wire there. And put the top cap back on. And we'll see if we can get some nice vapor out of this. Let me change the camera angle. Alright guys, so this is that was my take on the hot wrap. I got that 2-3 wrap of 28 gauge here. She's coming out to about 7 ohms. And there's no doubt, I mean, she's going to have to break in a little bit, no matter really how tight you get those coils. I mean, it still isn't 100% probably to at least a half a tank. But that hot wrap gets you so much closer. I mean, there's no way you can wrap that coil as tight as that hot wrap just by wrapping it with your hand. The cheesecloth works good still. I mean, that takes that and the gaps up and still works pretty good. So we'll see how this works right here. Very nice. Well, I tell you what, that I've tried some 2-3 wraps, at the low resistance like that, and I haven't gotten this good of wicking out of those wicks. These 1/8 wicks with these channels down the side really makes a big difference. I'm really liking it. I didn't expect for it to actually work this good right off the first couple of vapes here, but this thing's hitting really good. I mean, it's still, the taste isn't 100%. I'm still, I'm getting a little lack of flavor right there, but like I say, it usually is really burned by about a half a tank. Yeah, that's nice. So guys, if you want to try something different, the break-in period on these ceramic wicks can be quite long, depending on how tight you wrap it. But give that hot wrap a try. Like I say, the Elias he came up with this some time ago, and you know, it just heats that wire to a point, and it just stretches it, and it just gets them on them coils real nice and tight. You know, it's there's a few different ways I've seen it done. I mean, you could just hold it, you know, in your hand and actually wrap it with the other hand. I did that first, and you know, no matter how careful you are, you're gonna get a little burnt fingers on that. So I figured, hey, what do I got laying around here, you know, that I can use without setting up some jig, you know, and modding something. So that cartomizer works really good with a metal drip tip on there. The 1/8 wicks fit right in there, and you know, just get your distance correct, and you're good to go. It's working really good. And those channels on these new FC wicks, they're awesome, man. I'm really liking that. So anyway, guys, appreciate it, and we'll talk to you next time. All right, thanks. Just want to kind of you know, kind of show you one thing. You know, a lot of times you'll hand wrap these and say, you know, I can get these coils on these ceramic wicks pretty tight. You know, I don't mind, you know, giving it a break in time, and it all depends on just how tight you can get them. And sometimes when you look at these, you really can't see, you know, just how tight your coil is. But you know, this is you know, something that I always like to you know, look at my wires with. You know, you can get down there with the magnifying glass and just see how tight you can wrap those coils, and you'll notice, you know, when you do a hand wrap and look at it through a magnifying glass, you'll see some gaps. There's no doubt. And that break-in period is just, you know, the amount of time it takes for those little gaps to get closed up by the, you know, by the juice and oxidation or crud or whatever it is. And then you look at it after a hot wrap, an Elias hot wrap, and you'll see a big difference. And you know, if you get pretty efficient on that hot wrap, there won't be no gaps. And you'll notice from the first vape that coil, that vapor is so much better. You know, so it's definitely the tighter the better on these ceramic wicks, and this is a good tool to have just to look. And like I said, you can do one of these and get them tight, and you're vaping and everything's good. And then you might notice, you know, within the first half a tank, you know, maybe a little less flavor or something. Well, you know, take the magnifying glass and look at the top and the bottom coil. Sometimes those can loosen up very slightly, and it's until that wire, you know, gets set and it has expanded and contracted. And you know, I've noticed it, you know, on a few setups that that top or bottom coil will just ever so slightly show a little gap. You know, initially, we'll go ahead and, you know, undo your negative, take a little pair of pliers and just pull it a little tight, and then tighten her back up. Same with the top coil. And you may have to do that, you know, a couple times within that first tank. You know, after a while, she just settles in, and that coil doesn't move anymore. But initially, this is a good tool to have to check those little micro gaps, and to you know, just keep an eye out on them little gaps, and you'll notice a big difference. I mean, just a tiny little gap can make so much difference on these ceramic wicks. You know, that's what was good with the cheesecloth. I mean, it fills in those gaps. From time to time, I'll still use it, but this hot wrap has really done wonders on these ceramic wicks. And just heating that wire and stretching it out over that wick really works good. And she's cut the breakdown period to almost zero sometimes, you know. So you know, the cheesecloth was good. I had found with it that, you know, she gets gunked up a lot, you know, with the cheesecloth. And without the cheesecloth, if you can get the hot wrap on there and do a really nice tight coil, you know, the wick just doesn't gunk up nowhere near as much as that cheesecloth. So that's one plus from the hot wrap, you know. So either way, these ceramic wicks are really getting better and better. And this is the first time I've actually tried the new slotted fc-2000 wicks. And they've even opened up the wicks even more in this last batch. And I'll tell you what, it is really, really performing well. I was finding out with the 1/8 wick that the heat sink effect on it was taking it a while to heat up, and you know, a second or two. Once the wick heated up, you know, she was vaping real good, and that's why I was liking the 3/32 wick, because as soon as you hit the fire button, that wick is vaporizing that liquid. Where, you know, on the thicker wicks, you know, she would take a second or two. But what I'm noticing on this slotted wick is that the heat sink effect is a lot less. She's just really going instantly on this. So I'm thinking this is a great idea that they've came up with on this slotted wicks. I'm really liking it. So give it a try, guys. We'll talk to you later. Vape Diver out.